Hello and welcome to Loving Handcrafts by BMW. This is Brenda. So today I'm about to show you this card that that's a project in the Cricut community. And I made it last year and I can't find it because I made it last year and I was supposed to give it to my mom and I just can't find it. I don't know where I stuck it. I just hid it from myself. So I decided I'd go back and remake this card. And sadly, last year I didn't keep a copy of the file that I modified. So let me just start off saying that this card was inspired by Miss Rita to the Rescue.
Okay, let me zoom out.
Yeah, so I just kind of followed her video and I liked what she did.
Brenda.
So you can find this in the Cricut community. Cricut
Miss Rita
in the Cricut community. It's called the Cross. And this is a pop-up card in there's two versions. Design Space. I actually the smaller version and it's harder to work with. This is my front panel. So what I did was I just took 5.5 by this panel here, 5.75 by 5.75, and contoured out. And I already made my changes.
That's done.
So you can customize it and make it your own. But I've already done that. So I'm just going to go to my stuff.
I'm going to duplicate it.
Then if you go down to the bottom for contour,
yeah, okay,
you can do hide all contour, and you're left with the square. And that's all you have to do. And so yeah, and I'm just going to reattach the sentiment. So this element that goes on the front is just in images.
Yeah.
And I typed, "He is risen." And just select any image that you prefer so you don't have to do the exact same thing I did. And I actually, while I was in here looking for that particular image, I just selected another, like I selected this guy. And I'm going to keep going on. Is that the one? I think I did two. Yeah, and then this guy. So I'm going to select that one as well. I'm going to add it to my canvas and just show you how I did this. And I'm going to keep going until I find the thorn. So yeah, there's plenty of things that you can do for the front of your card. And now remember, a lot of these, if it's the A, you have to have Cricut access. So you have to pay for that. Yeah, and I think I used, yep, I'm going down this one, yes. Okay, so it's bookmark down there. Okay, so I'm going to add these to the canvas. Any day now, okay? Any day now, okay. All right. Okay, and so that's kind of sort of the thing, and then I'll show you what else I did. Okay, so I'm going to move this out the way. I'm going to move you out the way. And I've already cut this out, so there's no, no thing going. And I'm going to take no big issues. I just wanted to do that one. No, I don't think that's the one. Maybe. Okay. Okay, so the first thing I did, I don't I'm not going to use this because I'm going to the sentiment here. I'm going to use this sentiment. So what I did was for this one, I contoured. Whoops. Did hide all contour, and then I selected the cross, and then I hid the other part they want, and I just left me with the cross. And then for this item here, he is not here, for he is risen. I didn't want the leafy things around it. And you can either hide them with the eyeball. Whoops, I hit the wrong thing. You can hide them with the eyeball, and that's what I did. And then all I did was go ahead and move this cross and just kind of do that with that cross. Bring it in a little bit in. And I am, whoops, yep. And then I group these guys together if it'll let me group it. Why won't it let me group it? Let's see if I can delete that. There we go. Then group. Okay. So that was the first modification that I did. And then I pulled this guy up, and he's kind of small. So I wanted to, let me undo. I wanted to, I grabbed everybody. I just wanted this one, this panel. So this is my front card. So I wanted to get this guy placed and make sure he wasn't going to be too big, but just big enough. And I don't need, he is risen. So you can either hide that or delete it. I'm going to delete it because I'm adding this sentiment. And then I'm just going to resize it. So I'm grabbing that size box, the resizer thing there. And then let me bring it up a little bit bigger. And then I want to make sure, I'm going to move this out the way. Oh, I want to make sure that this is not big, but big enough. And so what I'm going to do is now I want this sentiment centered in this cut, this area here. So I am going to select them all. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to use my layers panel for, I want this and I want this. Yep. Got everybody. And then I want to click and center alignment, make sure it's centered. And I did it pretty darn good. It's pretty centered. So I didn't like that black background on the offset layer. So I just changed that to white. It's kind of like, you can't go wrong with white. So I just changed that to white. And then I flattened this because it's a print and cut image. So the first thing, so now that's going to be my new panel here. And that's perfect for what I'm wanting to do. Let me zoom out so I can stop that one. Then I went to the internet and just picked a quote. He is risen from Matthew. And then just kind of, do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus. It's hiding for me. So let me see if I can find it using my layers panel. Because I didn't bring it over far enough. There. Okay. Close. All right. Okay. So for this element, and let me blow it back up. This is just, again, another, let me unflatten it. This is just me using like my system font and then making an offset layer. So I just did an offset. So after I did that to get, and I did a really small offset. So and then I turned it into a print cut. So I did like a 0.1 offset layer. Then changed the offset layer to a color, like a light blue, and changed the font to a brown. And then flattened that all out together so that it would print. And then the first part I used, and I didn't care for that. I mean, I like I said, it's not my favorite. I don't like filling vinyl, but do what you would like, most comfortable with. I'm not comfortable with vinyl. It's an easy alliance. Let's put it that way. So the card came pretty much. It was pretty set. All I had to do was add some personal items. Now, some personal preferences. I do want to say, when you bring the card in for the very first time on the base layer, let me see if I can detach this. You're going to have to do some contouring because the card has some kind of cross image here, like a cutout. And then you would just have to detach the score line and then contour out that item. But it's already done for me. So I did it itself. So That's all I did. Yeah, here it is. So I clicked on contour. You can see this is the item that you would have contour. So if I do show all, I have enabled. But if I do hide all I get is the card base. So yeah, and then once you do that, you keep this. Okay, come on, I'm getting click happy. You keep the score line. See if I can move that down a little bit further, and just okay, that happened. Okay, I just want that, and make sure that the score line, if I can find it in the layers panel. So the layers panel is this area here. And just make sure you attach that score line before you, okay, there it is. Is that it? It usually works before you print, or you're going to have this rogue score line, or before you cut it out. I mean, if I did it, it's doing something weird. I don't have my glasses on. That's probably what's making it more difficult than it needs to be. So yeah, here's my print and cut layer. Now I didn't have my paper choices. So my paper, I did not have them in 12 by 12 cardstock. So you're going to have to, depending on what you want to do. Of course, I've got more stuff here. You might have to change your material size. So I ended up changing mine to 8.5 by 11. With the exception, I think, of one of the layers. So I'm not going to bore you with that. But I'm going to bring that down to my work surface. So let me switch you over to my work surface, and then I'll show you my first attempt. Okay. So this was the 4 1/4 by 5.5 card. And it was really difficult. It was difficult to get the components in here. As you can see, this is the, I used some silver vinyl, some silver permanent vinyl. And then this was my first sentiment here. Do not be afraid. I know that you see Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, but he is risen here. So, and then I used brown. It turned out pretty good. And all this was shimmer cardstock because that's what I really wanted. So let's bring in the components. Here's my panel, and this is white shimmer cardstock. You can't tell. It's got a little shimmer to it. And then he is, I forgot that one word. He is not here, for he is risen. So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and do some ink blending on the edges of that. Because here is the base of my card. So when I put down my panel, to break up some of that between this, I'm going to do some ink blending around the edges. I had just thought about that, or I would have done it before. Okay, so that's what that's looking like. So that's these two cut out. And then again, this is like a 5.75. Yeah, 5.75 by 5.75. A little bit bigger than a 5 by 5 card. So here is the base layer of the cross. Here is the third layer. And then here is the very detailed filigree layer. Now my printer was going, my Cricut was cutting wonky, and I don't know, I've changed the mat. When you do print these out, particularly these items, you want to do intricate cut, because this filigree is pretty intricate. So here's your other, because there's both sides of this. So here's the other side. Here is the second layer. So the idea is you're going to, as Miss Rita said, you're going to create a sandwich. So one side goes here, and then the other side goes here. Plop, plop, plop. And then you're going to have that sandwich. Here is your lilies. So these go on both sides And of course I did these in white shimmer cardstock. So it should be 4. Okay. Here is my inside panel. And I forgot for who is crucified, but we get the idea. And I used my ink, my Cricut pen, and I used blue ink for that. Here is the others panel. And yeah, so I think, yeah, it's going to go this way. So let me show you this. This is going to go here. This is going to go here. And I thought I turned my phone off. That's the front. And that's that. And here are the mechanisms that are going to go here to allow this to pop up. And that's the little, it looks like half moons. So that's going to be really pretty. And here are the things that are going to hold. These are like the things that are going to hold the 3 pieces together. And so there's 2 of those. So 2 for the bottom, 2 for the top. And then this is, I think this is an improvement. I mean, technically I could have cut an offset layer and then did this in vinyl too, but I don't like all the fiddling and the, you know, I don't like all of that. So I just do that and then put it right there. And then just glue that down. I'm not going to use any pop dots or pop up any of the other elements, because this, when you see the beautiful cross, it's in and of itself, that's the feature. So that's why I'm not using any other, like I would normally in a normal card, I'd pop this up and I'd pop, you know, the front sentiment up, but I'm not going to do all of that. So let me go grab my ink and I will return. Okay, so I'm going to be using this Memento ink, and it's called Bahama Blue. And I'm not going to use a lot of it. I just want to make something very, you know, visually interesting on the edges. So I'm just going to flick the edges with the finger dauber. You can use your whatever you have that, I can't remember, your blending brush. You know, I have a small blending brush. You could use that as well, but I like the finger daubers for stuff like this. And then I'm just going to do the corners. I'm not doing a lot. I mean, technically, if I had thought about it, I probably could have ink blended it. And I got a little bit too much right there, so I'm not going to try. But it's okay. And then I'll just be more uniform, and I'll just bring that ink a little closer to the end of the card, as opposed to just on the edges. That way it looked like it was intentional. That's not what I was going for, but that's okay. There we go. Made it all good. Let me clean up this ink. And I don't have any, I'm making sure I don't have any ink on my hands. Because I assure you, if I have ink on my hands, it's getting on someplace I don't want it, and then I'm going to be mad. So I'm just putting some alcohol on my hands. So just to make sure I don't have any ink. All right. So I'm going to go ahead before I put the cross. So the cross is going to be the last thing I put together. I'm going to go ahead and lay out my inside first, and then my outside, and then I'll put together the cross. So I want to concentrate on that. So yeah, so that's how that's going to look. So what I'm aiming for, move the ink all the way up the way. Let me get a few things I might need. I'm aiming for to get a border, like, and as best I can, an even border, top, bottom, left, and right. Now, I don't say I'm always successful with that. And I'm going to use score tape instead of liquid glue. So here's the score tape that I'm going to be using. Yeah. I'm only using it because I saw Miss Rita use score tape. And I'm trying to decide, do I want to use score tape or liquid glue? But, you know, sometimes it's save my glue. I'm going to use the score tape. It's not something I use all the time. It's not like my adhesive of choice, but I have it, so I'm going to use it today. And so I can kind of see the benefits in this because it will, like, I'm not going to, no, this is just what she used, so that's what I used. All right, so let me get this cut. And so the idea is to go ahead and get your score tape laid down. And my nail. And I'm going to use about 3. And I'm being very particular how I do this. Hey, I still got ink on my thumb. Huh. I thought I didn't have, when I picked up that. Yep. I know to look. It's ink. I don't want ink on my white. So yeah. Oh well, that's how it goes. So here we go. And then I'm going to chop this off. And nothing's to the edge. So I'm going to do the next one. So I'm gonna make sure. And when I tell you this score tape is, it's down. Yeah, it's down. it's not coming up. Yeah. So it is not as forgiving as a liquid adhesive. But you know, the trick is put some liquid adhesive on top to give you what I call a little bit of grace. So you can get your placement just right. So that would be my #1 recommendation, is to put a bead of glue on here, liquid adhesive. Let me put that away. And I'm going to go ahead and put some, whoops, see, I went over, I wasn't paying attention. But easily solved. Just snip it off. Okay, perfect. I'm going to go ahead. Did I bring the other score tape over? I don't need that big of a piece of a score tape. Go ahead and put some score tape on this one too, while I have in the mood to cut this tape out. I think this is, I don't know. I got the bags mixed up, so I don't know. The score tape, I got a bundle, so it came, you know, from 3/8 of an inch to, I think, 1.5 inches. So you can get, you know, the score tape for you. So I was hoping I didn't do that. That's okay. I was hoping I should have used the smaller one, but that's okay. Here's what I'm going to do. And just cut. Let me make sure I cut this way. Don't screw this up, Brenda Walton. Don't screw this up. Because I just want to get that score. What was it? Okay, well, I got the tape backer. I'm sorry, y'all can't see what I'm doing, what I'm struggling with. So let's just do the X-Acto knife. I apologize. I keep forgetting I got to do it on the ground, not in the air. So all I'm doing is just trimming off this tape that I should have grabbed. There's a smaller piece of tape that I should have grabbed. And I just don't want that tape popping through. And I'm just going to try to be really careful, because what I really don't want is to have to cut this out again. I really, really, really don't want to have to do that. Now with the liquid glue, you don't have this problem because you just wipe up the glue. But I decided to be rogue and use score tape, but that's okay. As they say at work, I'm doing too much. So this was me doing too much. So I just want to get that excess off. But you know, this is what happens in crafting when it's handmade. But I got the knife, so I'm getting it out of there. And then no one will know I struggled this hard. But me. And now you. It doesn't help when I don't have my glasses on. I've got these, for detailed work like this, I have these magnifying goggles. Oh my God. You kind of see it because, Lord have mercy, I got 50-year-old eyes. So sometimes those 50-year-old eyes don't cut it for seeing detail like that. Okay, so we're going to lay this down. And I am notorious, let me move my crap over here, for using anything to varnish with. So, but I got my bone folder out, so I'll use that. Because you want to kind of, when you start taking the backer sheet off of this, sometimes it pulls up, like now. So sometimes you just gotta use a little bit of varnish the tape down so it'll stick. So the adhesive part of the double-sided score tape doesn't come up when you're pulling the backer off as well. Okay, so I'm going to be really cautious when I do this. So I'm freaking myself out. So I'm going to do what I said I was going to do and put a bead of glue on this because I'm just freaking myself out right now. See, when I'm not on camera, I'm like, oh, I'll just put that on there. And then, you know, on camera, I'm trying to be make sure I get it all placed and it looks good. And then I use score tape and then I get it all messed up. So bear with me. I'm going to stop talking until I get this placed. Okay. Good. Press that down. The good thing about using the score tape, you don't have to worry about glue oozing out of the side. So what I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to do the exact same thing. But now that I have this line as a guide, what in the dealio is this? Oh, I don't know. Something got underneath there. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Just keep moving. Something got underneath the tape, and I don't know what it is. But okay. Not going to worry about it. Let me use my bone folder to make sure I got that down. I got a little, maybe it was a rub there. I got a little blemish right there. So we'll take off the backers. So later today, my husband and I have a date. Willie and I are going to the movies. We're going to have a Sunday date. We're going to do church service. Then, so obviously it's Sunday that I'm filming this on. And it's I think it's Palm Sunday. Yeah. So let me move all my stuff out the way. We keep that in frame. Okay. All right. So I'm going to kind of aim to make sure that the lines kind of line up. But I'm also looking to make sure that looks pretty good. Oh, no, it doesn't, because that's kind of crooked. All right, never mind. It's on there. It's on there, and I'm not going to fight with it. It's going to do what it is. Okay, so that's that part. And then I'm going to use liquid glue on the top because I'm not fighting with the score tape again. Just grab my glue. I shouldn't have put it so far away. All right. Just keep you know what? Stay in your lane, do what you know to do. Whoops. And I just dropped that bad boy. But luckily it'll dry clear if you just leave it alone. But I really need to close this card, so I'm going to, yeah, I don't want it to interfere with that round circle, that half moon thingy I got going on. So I'm going to kind of put it over in this area. So this card is intended for my mom. She doesn't like the word Easter. She thinks it's pagan. So I'm going to give her this one. This is Happy Resurrection Day because that's what she's called it. But I told her, I said, don't take Easter from us. I mean, the kids don't know anything about that. They just know they're the Easter bunny in the Easter basket. That's what they know. So now I'm going to do the front of the card. And I'm not using liquid adhesive. I mean, the score tape on that. So see how that turned out? That gives it a little bit of interest, visual. Oh, I should have, you know, I might go back and pull out an embossing fold and emboss this. That would be pretty cool to give it a little bit more and not be so flat. So let me pause and I'll be back. I'm going to emboss it. So I'm back and I embossed it. I'm okay with it. I mean, it's fine. I like that it's not so plain white back here. And because I didn't have any palm embossing folder, so I just had like this leaf embossing folder. So I'm going to do that. I wish I had thought about that earlier, but it's all good in the neighborhood. But like I said, I'm not using that score tape because that just pissed me off. Now, the embossing folder that I used was like 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this is a 5 by 5.75 by 5.75 card. I think that's 3 3/4, 5 3/4. In my head, that's 75 cents, but there you go. So I had to kind of I have this crazy line. It didn't get quite lined up because the embossing folder wasn't as, the embossing folder was smaller than the sheet of paper, but I made it work because mostly you're not going to see that transition because I'm going to cover it like that. And I think that kind of works because it gives it a little bit more visual interest. It was just really white, stark white back there. And then I'm just going to lay some glue on this and put this down. And then comes the next part of the card, whoops, which is, and I'm going to put dots of glue on these thorns, is going ahead and putting together the cross. Now, it's not as complicated as it looks. You just have to be a little patient with it. So I'm going to slide it right there. And because it's got those thorns out, it just doesn't have to be placed. And I'm going to put this on here. Let me make sure I get pressed down. With that, I think I can see some of it lifting. So just ever so slightly bend that back a little bit. Put some dots. Yeah, there we go. And then I'm just lay this off to the side on the other side of my work surface. Okay, so let me bring in the crosses. The cross. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to adhere this white filigree to this. And I thought about doing it earlier, so you wouldn't have to watch me do all of these. And I might just pause the video once I get one down so it doesn't take up so much space and time. Because all I'm doing is the same thing. So I'll get one down and then I'll pause and come back. And so on this filigree cross, I'm just putting dots of glue. And you don't have to get them in every spot, but just make sure you get some pretty good coverage with the glue. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take and drop it And so I'm lining up this top part right here. I'm really taking my time and lining that up. And since it's so intricate, but because I use dots of glue, I won't have a whole ton of glue slipping and seeping out. And because this is shimmered cardstock, you get a little extra slip and slide, so you can kind of slide those pieces into place so that, yeah, I'm doing that right. Yeah, I'm doing that right. Yeah, I'm doing it right. Let me make sure. Yeah, because then, yeah. Okay, yeah, yep, doing that right, because there's both sides. Just making sure. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. All right, so I'm going to pause and come back and do the next one. Okay, so I got both of those done. And I'm going to put a block on this last one and set it to the side, because now I want to go ahead and put down the lilies. So the Easter lilies. And our Easter lilies did come up. I mean, they're like on target. So what you got to remember is these are specific to each side. So you just got to match up the side and make sure you're adhering it to the shadow layer. So yeah, they're really pretty. Our Easter lilies popped out. I was like, how do they know the timing? But every year they pop out. And I have to thank Aunt Martha for the Easter lilies, because we didn't plant them. They were here when we got the house from purchased the house from Aunt Martha. Okay, so that's one side. And then I'm just going to double check. Now, again, my Cricut went a little woo-woo on me. I don't know what the heck. It cut out everything beautifully, and then it got to one spot of the design, and then it was like, nope, I don't like that cut. I was like, how could you cut out all of these beautifully and then get to a certain area in the design and like, nope, not doing it. I don't know. So I can't tell you what's going on with that. And again, when you're cutting this out, be sure to select intricate cuts, because if you don't, it could chew up your paper. All right, so I'm going to be really careful. Yeah, okay, making sure I'm in the camera so y'all can see what I'm doing. And then you're just going to layer that Easter lily under its shadow layer. So there. I was telling my husband, I'm like, I can't believe it got cold. We planted we thought it was going to be great. So we went to our local big box home improvement store and got all our flowers and stuff. And then the third week in March, it went cold on us. And we're in Mississippi, so I'm sure our definition of cold is not the same as our brethren up north. But hecky, it was cold. We had to bring our plants in, and then I wake up this morning and it's back. I'm like, it's not as cold as it was the beginning of March, but heebie jeebies. All right, so that doesn't go. So that one doesn't go there. So you just got to lay it. Nope. Okay, it's got to go there. Make sure I got the shimmer side. Okay. So this one's got to go here because it's not. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's me being impatient. And then this one will go here. And you just lay that out and take your time. Oh, and I got something sticking out my glue. I don't know what that is. Just turn it over on the opposite side. I'm struggling today. I'm looking at the time. So nothing, this is going to be my mom's going to be really surprised because I made it for last year and I got everything. It was looking really good. And I went to go pull it out of my stash. And I'm like, where is that Easter pop-up card? I made it for last year and didn't get a chance to give it to her. But this year I can give it to her. Could not find it. Oh, I was not happy. And then I go look and I'm like, I can't believe I didn't save a copy of it in Design Space. I don't know what I was doing. Maybe I was smoking something. And anyone who knows me knows that I wasn't smoking nothing. I just give that up to a senior moment. I have no idea why I didn't save that file. Maybe because I knew it was a project in Design Space and I could just go pick it up at any time. But I forgot I did all that custom additional stuff that Miss Rita showed us how to do. So Miss Rita's, I'm going to link her video too. She's one of my crafting heroes. So when I first got my Cricut, I'm like, I stumbled onto Miss Rita to the rescue. And oh my God, I learned everything I've done. I've learned by watching Miss Rita. And before I realized she was dropping her items on Cricut's, before they had the community, she was giving you a link to the landing page. I was going in there just watching her videos and following all of her moves. And I didn't pick up the file because, again, I was just really green and didn't know what she was talking about. So I never picked up the files, but I'm like, let me do this. And I just watched her videos and followed her. When she did this, I did it, you know, and then paused my video. And when she did this, I did it. And so that actually, in hindsight, helped me learn how to navigate and do things in Design Space that if I had just copied her file, you know, picked up her file that she made available, which I'm really appreciative, then I wouldn't have, I mean, I'm like, I really wouldn't have learned all the things you need to do. So I've got, and I went ahead and there's a score here. So I creased this. So I'm going to be real particular. And now I'm ready to put together the item. Okay, Brenda. Okay. Woo, Lord Hammer's about to have a panic attack. So this is for the bottom of the card. So this is on the outside. So this is the layer. So this is the front layer. Let me just recap for you guys. So that's the front part, and then that's the back part. Okay. So what I'm going to do, and then this is the piece, like a slot A insert slot B. Now I would highly encourage you to please use the larger file, because that 4 1/4 one, oh my God, you can't, the slots are so tiny. You can't, this piece is so tiny and it's so delicate. If I had thought about it, I probably should cut that out in some stronger cardstock, like a 110 cardstock, because even then it's still problematic because it's so small and you're working with such a small space. So let me stop talking and get this in here. So this goes into that third slit. So there's 3 slits or slots. So slot A into slot B kind of situation. And I'm going to slide that in there. And then you're going to take the outside and then you're going to slide it in that way. All right. And then I'm turning it upside down. Okay, there you go. So you can see that. Okay. Then you're going to do the top. So, and then this goes like that way. So down to the top. So I'm going to lay it down on my work surface so I can, and I kept wondering when I did it, because I had to cut it. I cut out the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. And I'm thinking, I didn't have this much problem last year. What's the deal? Then I went back and realized, oh, you picked up the wrong file. There's 2. So don't do what I did. Pick up the bigger file if you aren't there. And then I'm going to pop this last one in here. And you really want to make sure you get these slotted in correctly, because if not, then the popping up part won't work. All right, and then that's the one side. And so this one's going to go that way, that one's going to go that way, because I really want the prettier of the two cut sides to be in the front. So now I'm going to go to the other side. And no glue on this, y'all. Don't put no glue, because you want it to fold like that, and then you want it to slide out, pop out. So I am just double checking that I got everything up in there like it's supposed to. And then I'm going to go to the other side and do the exact same thing. I'm going to put the first in the first slot. Then I'm going to slot in the middle layer. And then I'm going to slot in the last layer. And then just double check and make sure everybody's still in their appropriate slots, and make sure nobody popped out, which this guy did. Because once you get this glued in, you're committed. It's hard to get them back in. So now, and then this other white part will go in this way. So I'll put that in the first one, and it's very delicate, but it's an impactful card. I think doing pop clip cards are like my second favorite of the dimensional cards. And I'll have to do a shaker card because I love shaker cards. I always think of it's like a big kid's rattle. It's an adult rattle. That's how I think of shaker cards. Okay, so that's that part. And then you just want to make sure your mechanisms are working. And yeah, that looks good. And I'm just going to make sure everybody's slotted in really well. So I'm going to bring back my card. And then the next thing you want to do is there's some tiny slits. So the idea is to get the slit in to one side. So let me turn it to the side and slot that in. And I'm going to have to do all kind of maneuvering. For me, I overworked the cardstock the first time, and then it was just weakened. So I'm going to get that in there. I'm going to get that turned that way, and then I'm going to glue this tab. So I'm going to be really careful. Grab my glue. I don't know why I don't put it on this side. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a dot of glue. Just a dot or two of glue. And then I'm going to do that. And then that's how that's going to sit. And then I'm going to do the other side. And then I'll glue this down. And then guess what? Mighty crafty crafters, this is done. And once you glue that down, then you are done with this card. And it's a really nice one. It's a lot of bang for your buck. And it's not as complicated as I've seen some of the other pop-up cards. Which, I might make myself a challenge. Okay, yeah, be really careful with that tab. I'm being extra careful with this tab. Getting that slotted in. Okay. Okay, Brenda, don't fiddle with it too much. Don't fiddle with it too much. Because there you go. I don't know if you can see that. So let me just get a little bit of glue. Not too much, but just enough. Lay that on my work surface. And then I'm going to take this over. So when you put it on the card, don't glue them down there like here. And just kind of make sure you get those circles kind of even. And I don't want that one to go that way. I want it to go this way. Just trying to see how I'm going to place it. And I hope I didn't do it backwards. Yeah, I don't. Okay, so yeah, do it this way. I'm gonna lay it down and up. I should have not. See, I'm already screwed that up. I may have put that too close. I probably should have waited on this one, but that's okay. There you go. That's how you fix that. Yeah, you gotta fix that. So before you glue this down, make sure you can close it. Isn't that nice? Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. Close it before you glue it down. So I don't know if you can see that. And it should, I might have laid the tabs down. I want to make sure. So idea is you want to move it this way in between, and it should close. Okay. We'll just, yeah, I think I did it okay. I just think I may have turned the slits the wrong way, but I should have flipped them over. And they probably should have been going in the same direction. But you know, hey, I'm just gonna work with it. And I'm just putting dots of glue. And because I use the liquid adhesive, I can kind of slide this around and get it on there. And I don't want to get it in the center where it got, oops. There we go. There we go. There we go. A little further up. And I'm trying to get this in place before the glue sets. Oh, let me bring it down. And I almost got it, y'all. Almost. Except for this side. It wants to be a butt head. There we go. There you go. Woo! And Happy Resurrection should have been a slightly smaller, but I'm not going to cry. And I got my card. And it lays, whoop, and then you just got to make sure it lays flat. Get this side to lay flat. And then when you pop it back up, it'll pop up. There's something interfering. Maybe, oh, I know what it is. Maybe this part's not up far enough. Looks good. Yeah. And yep, there we go. Oh, well, there we go. I just had to fiddle with it. Yes, made it. And then when it pops up like that. Perfect. I am not complaining. So if I had to do it all over again, I'd move this happy up, but it's all fine. It's not impeding anything. Happy Resurrection Day. This is for Mom. So if you like the card, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when I upload new videos. But that's it all today for my mighty crafty crafters. I'm still rolling that off the tongue. So you guys take care, and I will see you next time.